So before we get into part 2, issues 2 and 3 of Dceased, let's recap what's happened so far. Before we do that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications so you don't miss out on the content we put up. And now let's recap what's happened so far in Dceased. Darkseid invaded Earth, but to no avail, or so we thought. His true purpose was to receive the second half of the anti-life equation that manifested in Cyborg. With both halves of the equation and a piece of death, Darkseid creates a virus that would end his life, while Cyborg is sent back to Earth. In doing so, spread the equation through the internet, causing zombified people. Batman, seeing what's happening, leaps to action to secure his home, but it's too late. While saving Alfred, he is taken by Nightwing and Red Robin. Now let's dive into Dceased Part 2, Issues 2 and 3. We start this video off with Aquaman boarding a ship. Looking for any sign of life, Aquaman finds a locked door. Not knowing that there are equation zombies on the other side, he opens the door. Boom! He is immediately overtaken by the equation zombies. He tries to escape by jumping in the water, but they follow him, leaving an ominous sense of, is he alive or is he dead? We head back to Ground Zero, or Metropolis, where everyone is worried about their families. Damian and his father, Lois and her parents, Superman and his. Lois finds out her parents are fine because her father never really trusted smartphones from the start, but Superman knows what he must do. Go home. In Gotham, we see a discussion between Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. Ivy encouraging Harley to do what needs to be done.
It's time for you to face your monster, Mr. J.
As Harley agrees and opens the door, the Joker sitting in front of computer monitors. Readers, we all know what that means. Outside of Metropolis, we see Green Arrow, Black Canary, and Green Lantern are camping. Hal is trying to figure out how he lets them talk him into camping. Oliver replies, "It's because I'm very persuasive, and you're very weak-willed, Hal." Which is crazy enough because Hal is known for his willpower, thus being the Green Lantern. Oliver continues to taunt Hal by welcoming him into the Killjoy Corps. Frustrated, Hal turns in for the night. He uses his phone. As we see the red light, boom, we have an infected Green Lantern. As his ring states, Green Lantern of Section 2814, lethal force is not centered. Lethal force is not, goes blank, and he begins his attack. Oliver dodges, but Black Canary is hit. As Green Arrow lets off one of his iconic arrows, you know, the one with the boxing glove, he warns Green Lantern the next one ain't gonna be so friendly, only to realize Green Lantern has his number. But in an instant, Green Lantern catches a full blast of the Canary Cry. We see Superman, Lois, John, and Damian head over to the Daily Planet to use its old analog TV system and radio system to reach any surviving heroes or survivors at all. Lois gets ready to open the door, not realizing that there are zombies on the other side, but is stopped by Superman, who lets her know that wouldn't be a good idea. Superman gives John some instructions before taking off. Confused, Lois asks where is he going. He states he heard something, referring to the Canary Cry. We go back to see the aftermath of the battle, and Green Lantern is no more. But his ring has found a new host, Black Canary. Black Canary rejects the responsibilities of the ring at first, but with some encouraging words from Superman, she accepts her role as the Green Lantern, and they head to the Daily Planet. As they arrive, they receive some shocking news. Batman has finally responded, and what he has to tell them ain't pretty. Right now, he placed himself in one of Mr. Freeze's suits to slow down the virus that infected him, and that he doesn't have long before it takes him over. We also see Alfred in the background with the gun for when he does turn. Batman informs the group that the virus isn't just technological, but also biological. It can be transferred through blood as well. So not only do they have to destroy any human carriers, but the internet. Green Arrow says, "I always suspected we'd have to destroy the internet to save the world." As we watch Batman slowly turn, he starts to talk to his son, letting him know in so many words that he loves him and that Alfred has something he's always wanted to give him, and he's sorry. And as the radio goes silent, we see Batman taken over by the virus. Alfred cuts the line as Batman charges at him. Alfred tells his son he's sorry. Batman. We start issue 3 with Alfred holding the briefcase that Batman gave him. Alfred looking at the carnage in front of him with a heavy heart. Not only having to put down Nightwing and Red Robin, but also the man he's raised since the death of his parents, Batman. He says, I'm sorry I couldn't save you. Still holding the briefcase, Alfred jumps into the Batjet, takes off. I'm sure he needed to let off some steam, opens fire on the mass population of equation zombies down below. As things are turning for the worse, we see Harley Quinn running from the zombified Joker. She sees a man fighting for his life, but is overtaken by the equation zombies, and he drops his gun. Realizing that this is her opportunity, she picks up the gun.
Back off, I mean it.
She yells at the zombified Joker. He pursues her even more, sprinting at her even, gaining courage and saying,
No more!
The Joker gets right up on her. She pulls the trigger, yelling.
You were never any good for me.
And bang, the Joker is no more. Feeling good about what she had done, she takes a celebratory walk right into the worst case scenario. Zombified heroines. Instead of panicking, she smiles, cocks the gun and says,
I guess we're bird hunting.
We see Damian sitting alone, feeling the full weight of the loss of his father. Jonathan comes over to console him, sitting with him so that his friend won't be alone. Oliver comes over to check on the kids. Superman reassures him that Damian is his father's son. He'll find a way to bury it and keep moving forward. Superman looks to Lois, letting her know he has to go home. Before he leaves, he moves all the infected out to the street and closes the main entrance off with the Daily Planet globe. After he reassures everyone that the place is secure, and if they want, they can come with him to Smallville, but Lois insists that she stays so that she can set up the communication line. Jonathan yells,
Dad, you'll be back, right?
Superman embraces his family and says, I promise. As the sad Damian looks on. As Superman leaves, we head over to Atlantis where Mara is training Garth, Tempest, on water control. She jokingly tells him,
If you can't push against the tides, maybe you should rethink your name, Tempest. From now on, your superhero name will be Mild Weather Event.
As they laugh, Garth notices that it's getting dark. Mara notices something different. The water is getting darker, and we see why. It's a zombified Aquaman and a gang of zombified sharks ripping through Atlantean warriors. Tempest sees Aquaman and heads straight for him before Mara can warn him.
Stay away from the blood!
Garth is instantly infected. The infected blood, the infected Atlanteans, infected Garth, and the infected Aquaman all coming at Mara at once. Mara fighting for her life, she yells.
No, you will not take me.
She uses her powers to push everyone away and run for her life. We head to the city where Superman is doing some cleaning up on his way to Smallville. We run into a very familiar superhero, if you watch the CW, Black Lightning. He's battling off an infected Clayface. Superman gives him a hand and tells him to take himself and his family over to the Daily Planet. Jefferson asks,
Where are you going?
Superman replies, I'm going home. He headed over to Smallville where Superman lands to see Ma Kent fearfully holding a shovel in front of the locked barn. Superman asks, where's Pa? And she tells him,
He's inside.
Superman opens the barn and hears banging on the cellar door. He breaks the lock. He removes the second lock, opens the door, and there stood an infected Pa Kent. He lunges at Superman, taking a swing. Superman dodges, grabs Pa Kent, and just holds him in place. Not being able to bring himself to kill his dad, he throws him back into the cellar and seals it shut with his heat vision. He pauses for a minute to take everything in. He leaves with Ma Kent saying,
We can't just leave. This is our home. Your father.
He says with a heavy heart, he isn't here, Mom. And there you have it, guys. That is part 2, issues 2 and 3 of Dceased. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. And there you have it, guys. As always, it's been real. Blacksmith out.